Arsenal didn't win the Premier League. They didn't win the Champions League either. But somehow, they emerged from the 2025-26 season looking more threatening, more complete, and more terrifying than ever before. This current squad feels fundamentally different, not just more talented, but more ruthless, more focused, and more mature. There's a level of cold precision in how they play, how they manage games, and how the club is being built. It's no longer about potential, it's about power. If you're a rival fan, now is the time to be concerned. Because what Arsenal are putting together isn't just a good team, it's a future juggernaut in the making. The question now isn't whether they're contenders, it's whether this is the season they conquer everything. Could a treble actually be on the cards? While the trophy cabinet stayed shut last season, labeling it as a failure would be a massive misunderstanding of what Arsenal truly accomplished. This was the season where they closed the gap, not hypothetically, but in real terms. They finished second in the Premier League and only suffered 4 defeats, the same number as Liverpool, who pushed them all the way. The issue wasn't their quality, it was dropped points in matches they should have won, too many draws, missed chances, games where they dominated but failed to kill off the opposition. In a title race that came down to the finest of margins, those slip-ups were the difference between champions and second best. And yet, the real proof of Arsenal's growth came not in England, but on the biggest stage in European football. The Champions League became their proving ground. It wasn't just about participating, it was about making a statement. They stunned the football world with a 2-2-0 tactical masterclass against PSG in the group stage, completely outplaying one of the tournament's favorites. Then came a 5-1 demolition of Sporting and a clinical 2-1 victory over Girona in the knockouts. But the moment that changed the narrative, the moment that made people truly believe, was when they eliminated Real Madrid in the quarter-final. For years, beating Madrid in Europe was seen as a rite of passage for elite teams. Arsenal didn't flinch. They didn't care about legacy. They created their own. That performance didn't just send them through to the semi-finals, it sent a message across Europe. Arsenal were no longer just a project. They were real. They were ready. Then came the heartbreak, a rematch against PSG in the semi-finals. This time, they came up short. Not because they were outclassed, but because the tank was empty. Injuries, fatigue, and fine margins caught up with them. They were inches from the final, and it stung. But rather than wallow in disappointment, Arsenal responded with clarity. That pain didn't break them, it fueled them. And now, heading into 2026, the message from the club is loud and clear. They're done chasing. They're here to take. This isn't about being close, it's about being champions. And this summer's transfer activity shows they mean business. It all starts with the foundation, the defense. Arsenal's transformation began at the back, and last season, David Raya justified every bit of faith Mikel Arteta placed in him. Time after time, Raya delivered in high-pressure matches. His shot-stopping calmness under the press, and ability to play out from the back, made him essential in the system. But the problem wasn't his form, it was his workload. He had to play nearly every game. With no high-quality backup, the risk of fatigue and burnout became real, especially during the relentless run-in. That's why Arsenal acted decisively this summer by bringing in Guiérrez. While his Chelsea exit left questions, his time at Bournemouth reminded everyone of his talent. He's agile, confident, and excellent with the ball at his feet, traits vital for Arteta's style. More importantly, he knows what it takes to perform in the Premier League. As a backup, he's not just an insurance policy, he's a player who can step in without lowering the level. And in a season where Arsenal will be fighting on all fronts, that kind of depth could be the difference between winning one trophy or winning everything. Then, there's the heart of the defense, the formidable pairing of William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes. Few duos in Europe combine balance and chemistry like these two. Saliba plays with the mind of a seasoned veteran, reading the game effortlessly, composed on the ball, and unshakable under pressure. Gabriel complements him perfectly with his raw physicality, aerial dominance, and warrior-like presence. Together, they create a backline that's not just solid, it's commanding. And the trust they've built between each other over the past 2 seasons has formed the backbone of Arsenal's defensive stability. Chemistry like that, the kind Saliba and Gabriel have, only comes from playing together week in, week out. It's not something you can manufacture overnight. It's earned, built through battles, clean sheets, and shared responsibility. That connection has become one of Arsenal's biggest strengths at the back. If you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really supports us and helps us keep bringing you top quality Arsenal content every single week. Now let's shift our focus to the flanks. Let's talk fullbacks. The flanks, locked down on the right. Jurrien Timber has made that position his own. When he first arrived, he was seen as a utility defender, someone who could slot in centrally or cover both fullback roles. But now, right back fits him like a glove. He's quick off the mark, calm in one-on-one situations, and most importantly, confident when carrying the ball forward. He gives Arsenal that modern edge, a fullback who defends like a center-half but attacks like a midfielder. Behind him, Ben White remains a fantastic backup option. Still reliable, still versatile, still strong defensively. The fact that someone as experienced and consistent as White is now a rotational piece just shows how far this squad has come. On the left, things are getting really exciting. Arsenal might have one of the most promising young fullbacks in Europe in Miles Lewis-Skelly, still just a teenager, but already showing serious composure on the ball, technical polish, and the confidence to go forward. One moment from last season stands out, a goal against Manchester City, where he cut inside and curled it right into the top corner. That wasn't just a highlight, it was a statement. This isn't just another academy product. This is a potential superstar in the making. There's depth here too. Calfiori, when fit, is a solid option. His biggest challenge has always been staying healthy, but when he's available, he brings real quality, a dependable left-footed option who can slot in seamlessly and give Lewis-Skelly breathing room during heavy fixture periods. In short, Arsenal's defense isn't just a first-choice back for anymore. It's a defensive unit. Every position has competition. Every spot is earned. That's what real title-challenging teams are built on, and Arsenal finally have it. The midfield, where the magic happens, but defense is only one half of the puzzle. The real heartbeat of this Arsenal team, the engine room, is the midfield. And this summer, Arsenal made some bold, decisive moves that could very well be the difference between coming close and winning it all. The most notable change: Thomas Partey is gone. His contract wasn't renewed, ending a mixed tenure at the club. While Partey had his moments, Arsenal clearly felt it was time to upgrade, and they did just that. Enter Christian Ødegaard. For years, at Brentford, he was the unsung hero, breaking up play, organizing the press, shielding the back four, always one step ahead of the danger. He's physical, intelligent, and thrives under pressure. In many ways, he's exactly the kind of no-nonsense, disciplined presence Arsenal lacked in those gritty, high-stakes games where Partey often faded. But Arsenal weren't done. They also went out and signed Martin Zubimendi, a name that's been on the lips of scouts and analysts across Europe for a few seasons now. If you've watched him at Real Sociedad, you know what he brings: composure, vision, and a rare ability to dictate the tempo of the game. He doesn't just keep the ball moving, he controls the match. Press-resistant, intelligent with his positioning, and always scanning, he's the type of deep-lane playmaker that turns a good midfield into a world-class one. If you've watched Martin Zubimendi at Real Sociedad, you already know how significant this signing is. This guy is Arsenal's answer to Rodri. Intelligent, and always in control. He doesn't just recycle possession, he dictates the rhythm of the game. His positional awareness is elite, his passing is purposeful, and he shields the backline with authority. At Sociedad, he formed a dominant pivot with Mikel Merino. Now, he's stepping into a midfield that includes Declan Rice, and that's where it gets exciting. Because with Rice, nothing's changed. He's still the engine, still a monster in duels, still covering every blade of grass and winning the ball cleanly. His ability to read danger, break lines, and drive forward when needed makes him the ultimate modern midfielder. But the key difference now: he's no longer doing it alone. Arsenal have built a midfield that doesn't rely solely on Rice. It elevates him. With players like Zubimendi and Christian Ødegaard alongside him, Rice has the freedom to be more than just a destroyer. He can lead, dictate tempo, and push higher when the moment calls. And then there's the creator-in-chief, Martin Ødegaard. Statistically, last season wasn't his peak. 6 goals and 12 assists in 45 appearances. Not bad, but not up to the standards he set. But here's the thing about Ødegaard: he never stands still. Every season, he adds something new to his game. With better protection behind him now and a full summer of rest and prep, Ødegaard looks ready to hit another gear. Expect him to be sharper, more decisive, and more dangerous in the final third. Behind him, another name is quietly rising: Ethan Nwaneri. Still a teenager, but already showing glimpses of the kind of creativity and intelligence that could one day make him a starter. If Ødegaard ever needs rotation or even competition, Nwaneri could be the answer. He brings something different: youthful unpredictability, fresh legs, and fearlessness. And in a long season, that could prove crucial. So, Arsenal's likely midfield trio Zubimendi, Rice, Ødegaard offers something special: balance, control, and leadership. With Ødegaard and Nwaneri ready to step in, the quality doesn't drop. It's a midfield built not just to compete, but to dominate. And don't forget, Mikel Merino is also in the mix. He had a solid season and adds further depth and tactical flexibility. Attack, where it all comes alive. If the midfield is the brain of the team, the attack is the firepower. And this is where Arsenal have taken a huge leap. They've always had flashes of brilliance in the final third. But what they've built now, under Mikel Arteta, looks like the most complete attacking unit of his tenure. Let's start on the right. Bukayo Saka, Arsenal's golden boy. No introduction needed. Direct, intelligent, fearless. His decision-making is mature beyond his years, and his ability to cut inside or go wide makes him a nightmare for defenders. But last season, he missed a few matches through injury, and it showed. Arsenal lacked that spark, that edge, that moment of magic only Saka can deliver. That's why keeping him fit this season is absolutely vital. But here's the key. Arsenal have finally done what fans have begged for. They've addressed the backup issue on the right wing. Enter Noni Madueke if the signing goes through. This could be a game-changer. Madueke is a different kind of winger, unpredictable, rapid, and fearless in one-on-one situations. He thrives in chaos. He's not here to replicate Saka, he brings an entirely different threat. And for the first time in years, Saka doesn't have to carry the right side alone. In a 60-game season, that's massive. Madueke gives Arsenal a weapon off the bench or in rotation, someone who can flip a game in minutes. Now switch to the left wing, where Arsenal are just as stacked. On the left wing, Arsenal are spoiled for choice, and it all starts with Gabriel Martinelli and Leandro Trossard, two players with very different styles, but each capable of producing game-changing moments. Martinelli is explosive. He thrives on chaos. He stretches the defensive line, takes on fullbacks with fearless aggression, and plays every minute like he's chasing down a lost cause. He creates danger from nothing, and defenders know it. He forces mistakes. He opens space for others, and when he's on form, he's almost impossible to stop. On the other side, Leandro Trossard is the calm in the storm. He's precise, intelligent, and calculated in his movement. He loves to drift into central areas, combine with the midfield, and pick his moments. But here's the thing. Last season, he was used everywhere. False 9, central attacking mid, left wing, even as a deep-lying midfielder at times. And while his versatility is a blessing, it meant he never fully settled. This year, Arteta has a clear plan. Lock him into that left-wing role. Let him isolate defenders and give him the freedom to create. Smart rotation between Trossard and Martinelli means Arsenal can keep both players fresh while maintaining consistent threat on that left side, something they've struggled with in past seasons. The striker role, from uncertainty to ruthlessness now. We get to the most debated position in the Arsenal squad, the striker. For a long time, the conversation was between Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz. Jesus, without a doubt, is technically gifted. His movement is elite. He links play beautifully, and he presses relentlessly. But his biggest problem, finishing and fitness. Injuries have made it tough for Arsenal to rely on him throughout an entire season. And while he creates space for others, he's never been the kind of forward to score 25 goals a season. Then there's Havertz. He had some solid moments last season, holding up play, dropping into midfield, adding physicality, but at times, he looked more like a roaming midfielder than a striker. He lacked that ruthless edge in front of goal, and in a team that creates so many chances, that's a major issue. So this summer, Arteta went bold. He made the move fans had been crying out for. He signed a real number 9, a killer in the box, Victor Guiérrez, and this, right here, could be the turning point. Sporting CP Guiérrez was unplayable. In just 66 appearances, he racked up an astonishing 68 goals and 17 assists. Those aren't just good numbers, they're freakish. And it wasn't just in the Portuguese league. He showed up in Europe too, scoring against top-tier opposition, and proving he can do it on the big stage. He's quick, strong, and most importantly, clinical. He presses high, drags defenders out of shape, and when he sees even a half chance, he buries it. This is what Arsenal have been missing since the days of a prime Robin van Persie, a striker with instinct, conviction, and composure. Despite still being in the early stages of his top-flight career, Guiérez's numbers don't lie. 160 goals and over 50 assists in fewer than 270 games. That is elite output. Now picture this. Saka on the right, Martinelli or Trossard on the left, Ødegaard feeding passes from behind, Guiérrez leading the line. For the first time under Arteta, Arsenal's attack looks complete. Not just in talent, but in depth, balance, and versatility. They've got width, they've got creativity, they've got dribblers, and now, finally, they've got a finisher. The bigger picture, built to conquer. But here's the truth. Building a good squad is only half the battle. Winning titles is the real test, and Arsenal, they've done their homework. They've fixed the cracks in goal by adding depth behind David Raya. They've reinforced their backline with quality and competition. They've transformed their midfield from hard-working to world-class. And up front, they've built an attacking force that's ready to compete with anyone in Europe. More importantly, this isn't a team that has to rely on just 11 players. This is a squad that can rotate smartly, adapt tactically, and finish games. Last season was about showing they belong at the top. This season, it's about taking over. Arsenal aren't playing catch-up anymore. They're setting the pace. This 2026 squad is built to dominate, built to win. And if everything clicks, if injuries are kind, and the chemistry holds, this might not just be the best team in England. It could be one of the scariest teams in all of Europe.